Let's go over to our man, Mr. Teddy Kekstadt, as we do every Wednesday at 40 past the hour. And you can reach Teddy every trading day, folks, at forex-trading-unlock.com. That's forex-trading-unlock.com. Teddy Kekstadt, we got some action.
Oh, we do. You know, the last couple of weeks, every time I come on the air, I'm like, sorry, guys, I don't really have much for you, but today I got a couple things for you.
I bet you do, man. Let's talk about it. What do we got?
Okay. Well, let's see. Do you want to start with the yen or you want to start with the British pound?
Yen sounds
start
great,
with
man.
the yen.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, the yen has been in a kind of a grinding lower trade for the past, month and a half, not really making any real major breaks, but just kind of grinding lower. And then it started to try and get a little bit of a lift the past couple sessions, but going into today, the dollar index kind of took a little turn a couple of days ago, and it wasn't affecting the yen. Now it seems to be affecting the yen, where it's going back towards hitting support again. And I think that's kind of a big deal because, you know, remember how we've been talking about how the lesser currencies, you know, they have been getting beaten by the dollar.
Yes.
Well, in the past 2 weeks, we've had the Turkish lira, which has come off its high for its first decent correction in literally, basically, almost 8-9 months. Okay, so that's a big deal. That means that the dollar really has kind of pushed the brink with that currency.
Okay.
And then we have the Mexican peso, which we've been talking about for a while, how it's been kind of going sideways. And we had a head and shoulders formation that just was kind of weak. It kind of touched it off, but it wasn't really starting to sell off in that market. And now it seems like the dollar is starting to really lose its strength versus the Mexican peso. So with the weak currencies where they're still pushing the correction with the dollar, now we have where the major currencies, remember we've been talking how sideways they are, like the Swiss franc, it's going nowhere. The pound had a head and shoulders formation too that it finally leaked out of last week, but then we had on Monday, we had a big reversal of fortune. We had the pound and the euro that spiked and started to trend higher against the dollar. So I think that this is a big inflection point where the dollar index, you know how we've been kind of going sideways for 2 months trying to fit the upper and lower parameters of the trading range. Yes. Now we have a correction where I think that we're kind of coming to that frictional moment now where we should see, you know, if we're going to have a double dip and you know, it's funny, you were talking about oil, you know, before I came on. Yes. And you made the comment about in the 70s and the 80s how, I rember as a little boy being told in the 70s that by the year 2000 there'd be no oil, not a drop on the planet. Totally, man. You know what I mean? And I remember waiting in a line with my dad in an old Cadillac, you know, in 1974, 75, you know, a big boat for an hour just to go fill up gas, you know? Totally. So now think about this. All these people who prognosticate these big things, especially when it comes to commodities, they've gotten it wrong in my lifetime every decade, especially for major situations. You know, like when we had the oil embargoes, we had, you know, the terrorist things with Iran back in the late 70s and blah, blah, blah. Well, now we live in a world, remember in 2008 when we had the Great Recession, if you will. Silver was trading at $8 an ounce back in October of 2008. 3 years later, in April of 2011, it was trading at $48 an ounce. Okay. Now, we started to see a little rally in silver, but not much. It's at $17 an ounce. Well, 17 has been kind of the upper parameter for that for years now. Yes. You know? So, and now I think we're going to truly see what's going to go on. Remember we talked about the CRB index a couple weeks back about where's that going to move? And I think that we're finally going to see over the next couple weeks whether or not, I don't think the dollar can hold its range anymore. Interest rates, everyone's talking about the yield curve and how it's predicting a potential recession. Are you out of your mind? I've been trading Treasury bonds for 30 years. This has never happened like it's happened right now. There is no way you can get a read on the yield curve for where we're going. It's impossible. How can you do that when we have central banks around the world that are no longer working in cohesion together? Even our own Fed, they're like, how long can they continue to buy this? You know, we're looking at the short terms and the long terms, like how the yield is not acting like it normally does, and they're screaming recession, recession. Well, it's easy to scream recession when they put a stop to the economy three months ago. You know, so and we're totally in uncharted territory. Oh yeah. And I think that that's what we're going to see is that especially like if silver continues to rally. I mean, you're a gold guy and a yen guy. The gold is hanging around 17 something, and that's had the big rally. Like gold got the run up, silver didn't. And the reason I mentioned silver is like, how many people do you know over the years that I remember I have friends of mine, they don't put money in the markets, but they own a couple silver bars and silver coins and stuff like that.
Right.
Well, there's no place that you can sell that right now. The people who with the physicals, they can't sell that, and that's why it's staying at around $17 an ounce. What happens over the next couple weeks as people are coming, now all of a sudden pawn shops are going to be open, jewelry stores are going to be open. People with silver coins that are out of money are going to start to either cash it in or they're going to start buying more, you know? So, and this is going to be where I think we're going to find out where market direction is going to go as we come out in line, as these commodities start to drive things, especially the dollar.
And you know what I love, what you just said? I love the aspect that, you know, when we talk, excuse me, folks, when we talk futures versus the actual commodities, it's so cool, folks, because when you are dealing with the physical commodity, it's totally different, because when the premium's through the roof, you can look at silver at $17.96, but what can you really buy it for? That's what's always cool, right? Is it $21, right?
Right.
You know, what is the spread there? And for platinum, folks, finally took off. Platinum just went from $566 to $948 in a month and a half. You know, which that is saying quite a bit. Let's get back to the dollar for a second, though. It's so intriguing what you're saying, because the aspect, I've been watching the Rand, the South African Rand, because of the gold stocks we have down there, right? And that's getting stronger, too. So it's so intriguing that it's actually going into the majors. And I wonder what that really means fundamentally. Do you know what I'm saying? I guess it would mean that the dollar really is looking to crack. Right?
Well, I think that dollar weakness is going to start to really come into play now.
Yeah.
You know, we've established this range, and I think the range is good for certain currencies versus the dollar. Like the euro right now, it's got a nice little rally over the past couple days. I don't think that it's necessarily meaning that there's euro strength that's going to make that go up against the dollar. I think it's the dollar weakness. I think it's that now that as we come out of these fears, and the whole world is looking at our economy being like, we don't know what the world's going to happen. We know we've got an election year in the U.S., and they're like, are we going to have a V-shaped recovery? Are we going to have a W-shaped recovery? Or are these prognosticators that have always been telling us what's going to happen in the future, are they right that we're going to go into a depression? We're going to have, you know, and all kinds of other things. Hopefully that's not the case. I mean, I'm not,
right.
You know, that's not where my take is here, you know, but if rationality holds in this world, and, you know, right now we're in irrational times, right? Yeah, exactly. Good luck with that, you know. So that's why I love trading options right now, because that's where where the action is. But once we start to have stability, which we will have more and more clarity. Remember 3 months ago, 4 months ago, most people didn't know what coronavirus was, let alone you know how this is going to go. And now as we're starting to get data, the curve, it's not about the curve anymore. It's about the fact that information is less skewed. Now we're starting to actually get decent information to gauge on, you know, and I think that's when we'll start to see some more stability. But dollar weakness, I think, is definitely coming into play.
Beautiful thing. Listen, man, you have a great week. Oh, have a great Memorial Day.
You too.
Look forward to speaking next Wednesday, Teddy.
Absolutely. You guys have a safe weekend. Take care.
Man. Stay right there, folks. Tommy and I come right back. Dow's up 400, Nasdaq's up 172, S&P's up 51. We'll come right back, folks.